Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Whisper Games. Today I'm going to do a Q&A video, questions and answers, and I'm going to try to do it soft-spokenly. Because I very rarely do soft-spoken videos, and I know that a lot of you like them, so I'm going to try. I might go into whispering like halfway through or something, but I hope that's okay. So, a while back I asked you guys to ask me questions, and I have quite a lot of questions, and they're quite difficult ones to answer, at least some of them. You guys are very good at coming up with good questions. So thank you to everyone who submitted questions. I'm going to answer your questions first, and then at the end I have some like more simple, like get to know me questions that I got from Pinterest somewhere. It's, the kind of, 10 questions tag, that kind of thing. But I have more than 10. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 questions. Well, technically it's 15. Depends on how you count. 15 or 16 questions. Just simple questions that I'm going to answer as well at the end. But I'll be starting off answering your questions. I want to say as well that this is the second time I attempt to record this video. Last time I was at like the last question, and then my computer crashed and the recording was corrupted, so we're gonna try this again. And because I'm trying this again, actually it turns out maybe to be quite a good thing, because some of these questions are, like I said, they're quite hard to answer, and so last time I recorded this I kind of already thought about them, so now I know what to answer, if that makes sense. So the answer is not going to be as rambly. Well, I say this, but I tend to ramble quite a bit. Sorry about that. Although, to be fair, I quite enjoy when people ramble, so I hope you do as well. Okay, without further ado, let's get on with the questions. Okay, I'm going to start with some questions by Tom. So he has 3 questions. And the first one is, what is your most nostalgic game? So one of them you will find a video about up on my YouTube channel right now, which is very fitting. Very good timing, Tom. and that is The Sims 2. Not only do I have a lot of nostalgic and very fond memories of playing the game, especially one family that I played so much and had very strong connection to, weirdly, but it was so fun. And I talk a lot about that in the Sims 2 video that you can find on my channel now. But also, it was like, I get very nostalgic just thinking about anticipating to play The Sims 2. I discovered the first Sims game when I was I want to say 7 or 8. I met my best friend, that's still my best friend today, in first grade in school. So in Sweden you're 7 in first grade. So I met her. We were in the same class. So she comes from a gaming family, whereas I did not. Although I had been playing some video games at home as well, but not at all on the same. My parents don't get video games. I have an uncle who does, which is why me and my brother kind of got into video games. And specifically another video game that's very, very nostalgic to me, which is Warcraft 2, but I can talk a little bit more about that later. But yeah, when I met my best friend, she had The Sims 1, or maybe, I don't remember when The Sims 1 came out, but maybe she got it when we were 8, I don't know, but I remember that it was base game Sims 1. Maybe there was one expansion, but it was quite early on. And we used to play The Sims 1 at her place a lot. And then I, nagged my parents to get it for me, and eventually they did. And so I had been playing The Sims 1 for years when The Sims 2 came out. And I remember I was so excited, and I got The Sims 2 either for my birthday or for Christmas, and it turned out that the computer that we had at the time was not strong enough. It couldn't run The Sims 2. It was too advanced for that computer. I think it was Windows 95 or 98. I don't remember. Something like that. And it couldn't run The Sims 2, and I was devastated. So eventually, my parents and I kind of agreed. I looked up when The Sims 2 came out in my Sims 2 video, and it was in 2004. I would have been 12 in 2004. My parents and I kind of agreed that I could get my own first computer. I think we kind of like paid half of it. Like they paid half, I paid half. I think it was a long time ago, obviously, so I can't remember, but I know that I kind of had to wait for a long time before I could get that computer. I had to save up, I guess, and I think it was like a couple of months, maybe half a year or something like that, and that I kind of waited to be able to play The Sims 2. And I like planned ahead. I used to read the little folder that came in the game box. It used to have quite a lot of like information about the game, or it did. It didn't used to. It did have. It still does have a lot of information about the gameplay, and I used to like read that a lot, and I used to plan out like what families I would make and stuff like that, and draw little like drawings of family trees and stuff, because a lot of like a big thing with The Sims 2 was like family trees and generations, because that was not a thing in The Sims 1. So yeah, The Sims 2 would be the short answer. And also Warcraft 2, which was the first video game that I ever got into, and I know that I've talked about this before. I know that I have a whole video on like childhood games, and I'll try to remember to leave a link in the description box to that video. If I forget, you can remind me in the comments. But yeah, Warcraft 2, not World of Warcraft, but Warcraft 2. It was a single player game that my uncle had, and he used to have like a computer in his basement, and me and my brother would, be allowed to go down there and play Warcraft 2 when we visited him. Like, I think he kind of pirate copied. Don't tell anyone. The game for us. It's in the past. We were like, I don't know, I was probably like 8 or something. Maybe even younger. I don't know. Maybe 7, 6. I don't know how old I was, but maybe I was 6 or 7, because I think it was before I met my best friend. Anyway, we were young, like really tiny children, and we played the Warcraft 2 and loved it. I usually played as an orc because I like them better than the humans. And of course, none of us understood a word of English at the time, but it was still fun. And yeah, that game's really nostalgic to me. And like, I can still hear the like music for the intro cutscene in my head right now, and the very dramatic narrator. Is that how you pronounce that word? Narrator is going on, and I didn't understand a word he said, but I understood that it was very dramatic. I know that the cutscene is somewhere on YouTube. I'll try to find that and link to it as well if you want to see. That's very, very, very nostalgic to me. Also, like, of course, The Sims 1, Roller Coaster Tycoon. What else? Well, I have a whole video on this topic, so yeah, I'll link to it. That was a very long and rambly answer to that question. Like I said, it's probably going to be a very long video. Okay, so Tom asks 2 more questions, and question number 2 is, what game are you most looking forward to in the future? That's easy. It's The Last of Us Part 2, which now is going to come out in June. And I don't remember exactly which day it was. I want to say the 5th. I can look it up real quick on my phone. If you have been following my channel for a while, you will know that The Last of Us, the first game, is like my favorite game of all time. So of course I'm very, very excited for part 2, and have been for ages, like since I played the first one, of course, for the first time. Oh my god, where is it? I'm looking this up very slowly. Also, I'm sorry if you can hear any weird sounds in the background. It is prime farming season since it's spring, and please don't be loud. Oh, June 19th. It was not the 5th, that was wishful thinking. It comes out on June 19th. It used to be February, and then it used to be April, and now it's June. Apparently, Naughty Dog is pretty notorious for doing that. Anyway, I'm really looking forward to that. However, I'm trying not to be too excited and too what's the word? Like, I try to not have too high expectations, because I feel like I don't want them to be like broken. I don't think they're going to be, because it looks awesome, but you know, I don't want to be disappointed. So I'm trying to not set my expectations too high, but I'm very, very excited. Okay, so that's what I'm looking forward to the most. Also, Breath of the Wild Part 2, whenever that comes out. Super excited. Oh, and also there is a game that's going to come out sometime in the future, which is by oh my gosh, what are they called? Chucklefish. They're making a game which is called Witchbrook, I believe, and I am so excited for that as well. It's kind of like Stardew Valley, but a school for witches. So think like Hogwarts meets Stardew Valley. Something like that. I'm very excited for that as well. There are probably other games as well, but those are the ones I can think of, you know, right now. Okay, Tom, your third question was this. How would you rank your Animal Crossing New Horizons villagers from favorite to least favorite? What an awesome question. I love that question so much, but also really hard to answer. First of all, I actually just had a villager move out whose name was actually Tom. Tom the cat. I loved Tom so much. But he moved, and now I have a rhino who's called Renee, and I think I love him even more, maybe. I also have a rhino called Hornsby, who I think is maybe my favourite, but also Bubbles is probably also my favourite. Like, those two are very, very, like, close together at the top, I would say. So maybe Hornsby and Bubbles would have to share first place. Bubbles is a hippo. They're both so cute. Renee is kind of, I don't remember the actual like term for when they're kind of, they're trying to be cool and like, there's like a term for it in Animal Crossing terminology, but I don't remember. But yeah, it's probably Hornsby and Bubbles at the top, and then Renee probably, and Henry. Henry's a frog. I really like Henry as well. And I have Gladys, who is a bird, and she's kind of in the middle. Like Henry and Bubbles. Henry and Gladys would probably be in the middle. Also, I have 2 mice, Moose and Greta. For a second I forgot her name. Greta. Or Geriata, as we would say in Swedish. Geriata. Like, Moose has been living on my island for a while, and he's also a bit in the middle. He's fun, but not my favorite. Greta is very, like, she hasn't lived on my island for a long time, and she's very, like quiet and drawn back, and I feel like she's hard to get to know, but I like that. It's kind of like me, in a way. And I like her style. Yeah, I like Greta. She's probably up there too, like maybe Hornsby and Bubbles, and then Renee, and then Greta, and then Gladys, and wait, no, then Henry, then Gladys, then Moose, and I also have Frobert, who is like, he was one of my original villagers that moved in with me on the island originally. So I mean, he has he's very special because of that, but he's also probably the villager that I feel I have the least in common with, sadly. But I think Frobert might be at the bottom, although he's special because he's one of my first, like, original villagers. The other original villager I had was Phoebe. It was a bird, and I liked Phoebe, but she moved, which is fine. I think that was all of them. I hope I didn't forget anyone. Wait, I'm kind of thinking through my island and the houses in my head. No, that's all of them. That's all of them. Yeah. So, again, Hornsby and Bubbles are gonna have to share first place, and then Renee, and then Greta, Henry, Gladys, Moose, and Frobert. That's all of them, right? I think so. And Tom the cat is like since he just moved out, he would probably be between Renee and Greta if he was still there. I love Tom. He's very funny because he has this deep voice that I love. Anyway, that was all of Tom the Human's questions. Thank you so much. At least I think you're human. I don't know. But yeah, thank you, Tom, for your questions. Let's now go to questions by Joker. He also has actually he has 4 questions. So the first question is, what is my favorite painter / visual artist? Now, you may know that I really like art, and I am sort of a hobby artist. I do art quite a lot, and I always have, and I love it. But I've gone to art school for a year, and one of our classes was like art history, and I feel like I should know more about this, but I have to admit that I'm quite bad at knowing artists and their work. It's something I feel like I should work on, but I didn't really like my art history teacher. Sorry. I think that's why. But I would have to say that one of my favorites, just based on his work, is a Swedish artist called Carl Larsson. And he's not alive now. He's like he's a historical artist. I'm also not very good at placing things in history, but I would say he was alive during the 1800s somewhere. Probably late 1800s. I could just check Wikipedia quickly. Carl Larsson. He was, oh look, I was kind of right. He was born in 1853 and died in 1919, so I was right. There we go. I've gotten really into cold brew coffee lately, and I've learned to make my own. I have a friend who's a barista, so I asked her how to do it. Anyway, I think I was going to say earlier, but I don't think I finished that trail of thought. It's like, since it's spring, it's like high season for farmers and tractors to be out and about around the clock, literally. I don't know when they sleep because they're always out in their tractors. And I live in the countryside, and I have fields all around my house, and like 3 different farmers that can be outside at any given time, and I feel like they're always starting up their tractors as soon as I start up my recording equipment. So sorry if you can hear any tractors. What was I talking about? I was talking about artists. Carl Larsson. He's a very well-known artist in Sweden, at least. And he's also very well-known, like not only for his art, but also for his like family life. He was married to another artist who is also amazing. Her name is Karin Larsson. They're both amazing artists, and they had a lot of children, mainly daughters, I think, and they lived in quite a quirky house in a region of Sweden called Dalarna. I think it's part of a city called Holland. I might be wrong. I've been there, but it was a while ago. It's very beautiful, and you can go there as a like tourist attraction. They've preserved. It sounds like it's a corpse or something, but they've like kept the house the way it was when they lived there, and you can go there and see how they lived, and it's really nice and quirky. Quirky is a good word. Like, so nice. So he's very well known for like his family situation. They lived kind of in a different way than what was the norm at that time, but I've also heard that he may have had some values that I may not necessarily agree with, but his art I really, really like. It's very illustrative, is that a word? It's like watercolor mostly, but it's very like line art heavy, I would say. I might be wrong, but like that's how I feel like it is. It's like, yeah, it's very like illustrative. I hope that's a word. And it's kind of the type of art that I kind of aspire to make. Like, I love that style of art a lot. I want to become an illustrator. That would be like a dream job. But yeah, his art is very inspiring to me. Also, there's another Swedish artist from, I want to say around the same time, but I might be wrong. He might be a slight bit earlier. Let me look him up as well. His name is John Bauer. It's very like similar time. He was born in 1882 and died in 1918. He died quite famously in a boating accident on one of our biggest lakes, which is called Vättern. Anyway, he died quite young, sadly. I think he was like 30 or something. Yeah, he would have been around that age. Anyway, I love his art as well. It's very based on like Scandinavian folklore. If I remember, I can like link to pages about these artists that I'm talking about, and you can have a look if you're interested. But yeah, his art also inspires me a lot. Probably those two are my favorite painters. I get inspired by a lot of people, but I'm not very knowledgeable about artists, sadly. I feel like I should read up on a lot of them, like especially like contemporary stuff. I'm very bad at that, but yeah. Carl Larsson, John Bauer. Also like Frida Kahlo. There's a Norwegian person whose name I cannot remember right now. Emil Nolte, I think. Tractor. Sorry. Nowadays I follow a lot of like digital and also traditional artists on Instagram, and I get very inspired by that a lot, although it can also sometimes be a little bit like disheartening almost, because you see all these people making such great stuff and you're like, oh, why can't I? And you know, that kind of feeling. But yeah, I really get inspired as well. I like to follow people that are you know, other hobby artists or like smaller artists, but also some bigger ones. But yeah, I have a favorite artist on Instagram. She does a lot of, I think it's a she. I realized just now that I actually don't know. I always assumed it was a she. I'll link to their Instagram under my video as well. Her name, or their name, is Ikimaru. I get very inspired by their art. It's very pretty. Tractor again. Okay, so next question by Joka is 5 dinner party guests from any point in time. Also fantastic question, so hard to answer, but this took me forever to answer the last time I tried to record this, because I tried to come up with people as I was kind of thinking, and I'm just going to say what people I ended up coming up with that time around, and I kind of ended up choosing 6 people, and only women, and they're all kind of like strong women that I look up to, like in history, and also at the end I'm like, I need some contemporary people too, so I ended up choosing 2 from, 3 from present time. So I have 3 historical figures, although one of them is not as historical, which is Astrid Lindgren, who is like, she has passed now, but she's not as historical, because I feel like it's not that long ago that she passed away, but she was if you don't know Astrid Lindgren, then she is a writer from Sweden who is mostly known for her children's books, like Pippi Longstrump, I think most of all. That's Pippi Longstockings in English. All of those. She has so many. Ronja Rövardotter, Emil i Lönneberga, Karlsson på taket, Barnen i Bullerbyn. Like, there are so many stories. Mio min Mio, Bröderna Lejonhjärta. And they have been translated into so many languages. It's crazy. She also had quite a interesting and quite sad personal life. But yeah, I really look up to her. I think she's a really cool lady. Also, I put down Frida Kahlo as well. Again, going back to my painter question, also I put down Queen Christina of Sweden, which is a historical queen, maybe from the 1600s or something like that. Let me look her up quickly. She was born in, oh look, I'm like good with my history, like years today. She was born in 1625 26 and died in 1689. She's a historical queen of Sweden. In my mind, she's quite badass, and she became queen when she was a child, and then she had this advisor dude who's very well known as well. His name is Axel Oxenstierna. She became queen because she did not have any brothers, because the boys go first, or at least they used to. But yeah, she became queen as a child, and Axel Oxenstierna was her advisor. And when she grew up enough to be queen by herself, she basically this guy who had been advising her, he wanted to still advise her, but she was like, no, don't need you anymore, off with you. And she also did not want to marry, she was quite strong willed, she was a bit of a tomboy really, and she was like, I don't need no man, I can do this myself. And yeah, I just find her very empowering, I guess. And yeah, she ended up abdicating because she got she didn't want to be queen anymore, which I think is fair enough. And she moved to Rome. So she died in Rome, Italy. And also, that's 3 people, right? And then I said that I needed some contemporary people, and I was kind of going at that point I realized I had only female people, and only people that inspire me as a woman. I would say I'm a feminist, but that does not mean that I hate men. I have nothing against men. That's not what a feminist means. If you don't know, look it up. But I like women that are a bit badass. I get very inspired by that. Strong women. So I was who in present times inspire me as a woman, and I said I would either say Emma Watson or Emilia Clarke, and then I said I could just have both, not only for their acting work, but also for what they do kind of off camera, what they do apart from acting, I find very inspiring. And I also think they're quite strong women as well. I love them both. And also that's 5 people already, but I wanted to also say Maria Gentle Whispering, because she's an inspiration to me and to a lot of us, I think, watching this. So yeah, that's 6 people. I hope that's okay. Yeah. Okay, so next question. What is your favorite beer? We're jumping from very difficult question to something else. So first of all, I don't really drink a lot of alcohol, but I like beer. So when I drink alcohol, it's likely to be beer. I don't really care, honestly, what beer it is. Any beer will do. I don't really like really dark, like, you know, Guinness type beers. Not so much. They're okay. Like, I can drink them, but they're so. Also, like, really pale beer, ale. They're a bit meh to me, like Corona or something. Corona. Yeah, not a fan of those really, but they're okay. Like, I could drink them, but I'd rather have like a normal beer. Honestly, pretty much anything will do. I think my favorite at this time is an ale actually, and I looked it up last time I recorded this because I did not remember, like, I thought it was British, and it was. The name of it is Old Speckled Hen, I believe, and I think I looked it up when I was talking about this last time. I think it's from Oxfordshire in England. Yeah, I've been drinking that. For some reason they sell it very regularly in supermarkets here, so I like that one. It's good. That's probably my favorite right now. But I really don't really care. Any beer will do. Funny story actually. I used to live in London or like the outskirts of London, for 3 months. A couple of years back when I was in university. I was what's the word? An exchange student for 3 months. So I lived in England for 3 months, and I rented a room in a lady's house, and she was taking me out to have dinner in a like proper British pub that she used to go to, and her daughter used to work there, I think. And I was going to order like my order, what I wanted. And in Sweden, when you go to somewhere to eat, you could say like, oh, I'd like a beer, and any place, like, they would have like a house beer, you know, like something they would have on tap, and so you could say like, oh, I'd like a beer, and then they would like recommend, oh, you know, this is our house beer, would you like this? And then you could say, yeah, that's fine. That's very like okay to do in Sweden. So here this Swedish lass comes walking into the British pub and goes, oh, I'd like a beer please. And the lady behind the counter like, she got offended almost because I didn't say what type of beer. She was like, what kind do you want? You can't just say I want a beer. I'm sorry, I didn't know that was not okay to do. But yeah, anyway. The final question from Joker is this. Your 3 favorite musical artists. Now, this question is so hard. Like, I was thinking about this, and I don't really listen to music as much as I used to. Like, at all. The only time I really listen to music is when I either draw or when I write. I like to write as well, like creatively. Or when I play video games like Overwatch or The Sims or something like that. But when I play The Sims, I can also listen to ASMR or podcasts or something. I quite rarely listen to music these days. And when I draw and when I write, I like to have something on that I don't really have to focus on the lyrics. Like, I like it to be like instrumental, like only music rather than music with lyrics, if that makes sense. So I've been listening to a lot of like lo-fi music, like lo-fi hip-hop, that kind of thing, like you know, the type of music that I have on during my streams sometimes, that kind of music. I listen to that a lot. I just find it's really good music to get into a flow, like you're listening to something but it's not like you don't have to focus on it, like it's just there kind of in the background. I love that. I also listen to a lot of like video game soundtracks, movie soundtracks, that kind of stuff. I always loved soundtracks. Like I listen to Lord of the Rings soundtrack a lot, and yeah, a lot of video game soundtracks, like Night in the Woods, Ori and the Blind Forest, a lot of Assassin's Creed soundtrack actually, lots of different soundtracky stuff. This fucking tractor. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles actually has one of my favorite soundtracks ever. So good. But I don't really listen to like music. I'm very not up to date with like current, like what's trendy, and that goes for like everything. It could be like TV shows or music or clothing or anything really. I don't follow trends. I don't care about trends really. I never did. So, but let me actually have a look at my Spotify quickly. If I'm thinking about albums that I've been listening to a lot lately, like for a while I listened a lot to Billie Eilish, her album, the one, you know which one I mean, When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? I listened to that a lot for a while. I was very late to the party on that one, but it's a great album. I also listened a lot to Halsey. I always thought it was supposed to be pronounced Halsey, and I've like only recently learned that it's meant to be Halsey, so I'm trying to say it right. I'm trying to say it right now. I've also been listening to a Swedish artist. Her name is Amanda Jensen. I've been listening a lot to her music a lot lately. What else have I been listening to a lot lately? I've been listening to Tractors a lot lately. I've been listening to like Queen. Been listening to Muse. Pearl Jam a little bit. My favorite song is Sirens. I really love Eddie Vedder's voice. I don't know if that was an answer to your question. A very rambly answer in that case. Sorry. But that's kind of what I listen to. Thank you, Joka, for your questions. Now, Jubilee Whispers asks some questions as well. First, what places are on your must-visit list? That's a hard question too. If you mean like places that I have been, that I would recommend to others, I think that's what you mean. Look, I haven't been a lot of places. I don't travel a lot, and my parents don't really like to travel a lot, so the furthest I've been is England. I've been to Norway, I've been to Denmark, I've been to England and Scotland, and that's it. Honestly, I would recommend Sweden, if I can recommend my own country. It's actually a pretty beautiful country. Like, in summer, I like it, and I'm a really big fan of snow, and you may know this already. I'm a big fan of snow, and if it's a proper winter landscape, it's also really pretty. And we have like a lot of different types of nature, like up north, like really up north. It's one specific like nature look, and then in the middle, like it's different, and then in the south it's different, and yeah. Sweden is actually really beautiful. So I would recommend Sweden. I have actually like, since my parents don't really travel abroad, we've been like road tripping like around Sweden quite a bit, and Sweden's a very pretty country, I will say. Also Norway is really beautiful as well, very pretty. And Scotland, I'm like in love with Scotland. I went there for the first time in July, and I would 10 out of 10 go back. I love it so much. So yeah, that's my must visit list. If you mean what countries I would like to visit, the countries that are kind of on my list of places that I would like to visit, I would say Iceland, France, New Zealand, Japan, Canada, yeah, and Florida, of course. Okay, and then the next question is, if you had to eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be? Wow, hard question. Maybe pineapple pizza. Okay, and the final question from Jubilee Whispers is a funny one. If you could erase your memory of just one game and relive it for the first time, what would it be, and why is it Breath of the Wild? Breath of the Wild. It's a really great question. Maybe Breath of the Wild. That's a very good, like, candidate. I would love to experience Breath of the Wild for the first time again. Maybe The Last of Us, just because it's my favorite game, and I would love to get to play that for the first time again. alien isolation, maybe. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to say The Last of Us. Yeah. Thank you, Alison, for your questions. Okay, the next questions are by Carolyn K. Sorry, I never know how to pronounce your name. She's always leaving very lovely comments, and I actually got to visit her island in Animal Crossing lately. Thank you so much for that. It was awesome. She has a very beautiful, beautiful island. And she has asked me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions. So the first one is, what do you do for work? And I don't really want to say, for like privacy reasons. I've kind of on purpose never said what I work with. I can say that I work with people, humans, and you know, I don't want to say more than that, I think, because I kind of want to keep that private, both, you know, for the sake of myself, but also for the sake of the people that I work with. So yeah, I hope that's okay. But yeah, I work with people. And that's about as much as I want to say. So the next question, which I can definitely answer, is, what was your dream job when you were a kid? It was not what I do right now. I actually wanted to be a train driver. Is that the word? Train driver? I wanted to drive trains when I was a kid. I also wanted to be a carpenter for a while because my dad is a carpenter and my grandfather was a carpenter. Yeah, but yeah, the major thing was that I wanted to drive trains. I have a thing for trains. I love trains, especially like old-timey steam ones. In the city where I lived when I went to university, there's a train museum, and I think I went there like 7 times in like 3 years or something like that. I love trains, and I actually had a look like into applying to become a train driver. I feel like there should be a more specific word for it, but it's not in my brain right now. But I think I don't have the like mental capacity. Like, I'm not mentally strong enough to be a train driver. Like, you have to be quite good at handling stress, and I don't think I'm good enough at that. And yeah, it's just, it can be quite stressful. And but yeah, otherwise I think I would enjoy it a lot. I've also thought about becoming a truck driver, which I think is why I enjoy Euro Truck Simulator so much. Yeah, but yeah, I think it would be a bit too stressful maybe. And also I really love spending time at home, and I don't think I would have as much time at home if I worked in with trains or trucks as I do right now. So yeah, that's also a reason why I probably would not work with that, but that's what I wanted to do when I was a kid. Next question is, favorite item of clothing that you own? I've actually prepared for this question I have two items. First, I have this. I really don't know how to describe this. It's stuck under the other thing. Here we go. This is the first item. It's a very thin, like sheer. I don't know how to describe this. It's almost like a big scarf, but it has like armholes, like sleeves. Sleeves is the wrong word. It's more like armholes. Like you put your arm through here. Like that, but you put it on like a cardigan, but it's very thin. It's black with a floral print. So you put it on top of something else, and I love to wear this in summer and spring if it's warm. It's very nice and flowy. I'm really bad at describing what this is, but this is like my favorite item of clothing. It's quite big, as you can see. Yeah, and it's very, I love how like flowy and light it is, and it's very nice to wear in the summer. I hope you understand what it is. It's hard to show it, but yeah. I think the best way to describe it is like it's a scarf that you put on like a cardigan, and it has like holes for the arms. It has no buttons or anything. Would it be a kimono? Maybe. Yeah, anyway. This piece of clothing. Maybe I can insert a picture of me wearing it or something. Maybe not, we'll see. Also, I have this, like, this is like my summer favorite, okay? And this is like my autumn, winter, or cold spring, like early spring favorite. And it's a sweater. With long sleeves. And I just love the colors of this, like this rusty red, brown with the blues and the white. I love this so much, and it's so comfy, and it's like perfect thickness. Like it's not that thick, but it's thick enough to keep me warm. I love this shirt so much, or this sweater so much. You get some fabric sounds too. Okay, so those two are my favorites. Next question is, what's your favorite animal? Well, as a pet, I would say cats. I have two cats. In case you don't know, you probably do, because I talk about them all the time. And they're in videos now and then. I have two cats. They're half brothers. The oldest one is 4. His name is Sam, and the youngest one is like 1.5. His name is Alphonse. So if we're talking pets, probably cats, although I like pretty much every animal, so I would love to have a dog too, but I don't think my cats would approve. Sam hates dogs, and Alphonse is scared of like everything, so I don't think that would be a good idea at the moment, but yeah. If we're talking like animals, like wild animals, maybe I like giraffes, elephants. I mean, I probably have to say sheep as well, because I have been collecting sheep since I was, I think, like 13 or something. There's a sheep right here. I also have some sticky notes right here with sheep on them. I got this in Scotland actually. It says you and I can stick together. It's very witty. Because U E W E means, I think it's female sheep. Get some tapping too. Okay, I kind of still collect sheep things. Sheep things. Sheep things. As well. But it's kind of calmed down a bit. I only really get things sheep, things with sheep on them, or like decorative sheep like this one. If I find something that's very special, because I have so many things now that it's getting a little ridiculous. I've actually like given away quite a lot of them, but yeah, sheep and cats and elephants and giraffes, I think. I like foxes too. Okay, and the final question from Carolyn. Again, sorry, pronouncing your name weirdly. The final question from her is, what's one big dream that you wish to accomplish in the future? I want to write a book. Actually, I would love to become a writer and an illustrator. Like, I would love to write children's books and illustrate children's books, but I also would love to write like stories for like young, like youth books. I'm actually writing a book right now and it's going quite well. And it's like a fantasy story for well, anyone really, but I'm like the intended sort of audience would be like youth, I guess. Like older kids to teenagers to anyone really. But yeah, I would love to write a book and publish a book. That's a big dream of mine. And I mean, I feel like it's very much accomplishable, is that a word, for me to actually finish this book, because I have it all like planned. I know exactly what I'm going to write, and I'm like halfway right through writing the actual book. It's going to be 21 chapters, and I'm now writing chapter 10, so I'm almost halfway through. but I have everything like planned out, so I know. Like I only have to like do it now. But yeah, that's a big dream of mine. Also, actually, something that I'm also quite close to accomplishing, I guess. There is a very like historical classic ski race in Sweden, which is called Vasaloppet. It's 9 Swedish miles long. How long is that in? So it's 60 English miles. Is that correct? Yeah, it's very far. So 9 Swedish miles is like 55.9 English miles. So it's a long, like, ski race, like, competition, but it's also for, like, people who just do it as, like, not part of the actual competition, but also, like, they're doing it, but it's more for, you know, it's an accomplishment to get through it and get to the goal. And I've always been super, like, when other people watch it on television, they're like, oh, I would never like to do that, but I've always been like, oh my god, I really want to do that. I'm not good at skiing. Like, I've been skiing since I was little, but, you know, very rarely. Like, I maybe go skiing like once or twice a year, and I'm talking like long distance skiing, not like slalom, but like downhill. I'm talking like flat skiing, like cross country skiing, I guess. But there's like different types of, like, I'm not good at skiing. I'm very much, you know, even though I've been doing it for my entire life, more or less, I'm very much a beginner. Like, I don't really have any good skill at it, but I think it's fun. But there are different kinds of this race. So there's one that is for women only, that's a third of the race, so it's like the last third of the 9 miles, so it's 3 Swedish miles long. And I've actually signed up to go do that this year. Well, like next year. It takes place in wait, I think it's the 27th or 28th. It's one of those, or 29th. I'm pretty sure it's like 28th. I might be wrong. February 2021. I'm going to go do that skiing thing, and I'm really excited about that. So that's also a big dream that well, the biggest dream is to do the long one, the 9 miles one, but I'm going to start small and do the 3 miles one first, and we'll see how that goes. So I'm kind of training now to do that. So currently there's no snow, so I'm running at the moment. Yeah, but that's also a dream. Thank you, Carolyn K, for those questions. Okay, and the final question is by Junior Striker 15. And this is the question. If you had 3 wishes, what would you wish for? Also make them focused on you, not just the generic world peace or other charitable good things. Just to make it more interesting. What would I wish for? I would wish that I would be able to finish writing my book, and I would and publish it. I count that as one wish. Or if I'll change that one. I'll put it like this instead. I wish that I could be able to make a living as a writer slash illustrator slash ASMR artist, of course. That's one wish. Wish number 2. I wish that I would have a super magical power to if there's someone who's disrespectful in any way towards someone else, I wish I could have the superpower to make them see and understand the other person's perspective, to know what it was like to be the other person, if that makes sense. Or I would like to have the superpower to make people nice towards other people. Is that weird? But yeah, I would like to have a superpower to make other people understand someone else's perspective, to understand what it's like to be someone else. I hope that makes sense. I feel like not only because I myself would benefit from it, but also because people around me would. Yeah. Is that focused on me? I think so. Yeah. In particular, I live in the countryside, like I said, and for myself, I feel like sometimes in the countryside, especially, although I'm sure it happens in the cities as well, there is some sort of unspoken rule that you have to be the norm, you have to be heterosexual, you have to find someone to have a family with, you have to have a car, you have to have children, you have to have a normal job, whatever that means. You have to want to be skinny, you have to want to be, like everyone else. And I wish that I could make people see that it's okay to not want those things, if that is not something that makes you happy. It's okay to be who you are. I know that sounds super cheesy, but it's true. Yeah, I think it's very hard to be different for anyone, really, anywhere, but sometimes I feel like the countryside is a little bit behind. When it comes to, people being out of the norm. But I feel like people should be, like, in my mind, I'm like, just let people do what they want. Just let people be who they want to be, and do what makes them happy, as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else. And sometimes I wish I could make people realize that. Yeah, that's my second wish. What a long answer to that. What else? I wish I could use like a Sims style cheat code to cheat in some money so that I could redecorate my house any way I wanted to without worrying about money. There we go. That's 3 wishes focused on myself. More or less shallow. Okay, I'm going to whisper now. I hope that's okay. So, we have now come to the quick questions that I've just copied from Pinterest or somewhere like that. The 15/16 get to know me questions. So these are not asked by any of you. I've just sort of added them in at the end just for fun. So I'm going to try to go through them pretty quickly. We'll see how that goes. Age. I'm 27. I will turn 28 this year in June. Do I have any middle names? Yes, I have 2 middle names. One is Birgit, kind of like Brig in Overwatch. And my other middle name is Sophie. My height, I am 1 meter and 75.5 centimeters. That half centimeter is very important because my mother is 1 meter and 75 centimeters, and I'm half a centimeter taller than she is. Very, very important. What is that in inches? Feet? Foot? I'm 5'9", apparently. was art. And, well, I want to say English, but I hated the talking part of English class. I loved writing. I even loved grammar. Yeah. English, if I could take away the spoken part, which is hard to believe now that I'm sitting here rambling in English, but yeah. I used to really hate to talk in front of my class. And I used to have really low self-esteem, which, well, it's definitely not as low anymore. I'm a lot more confident now. But, yeah. It probably had more to do with self-esteem issues than anything else. But yeah, those were my favorite subjects at school. Also history. I really like history. Although, I don't think I had a really good history teacher until I took history in, I want to say, 9th grade. No. After 9th grade, we call it gymnasium, which sounds so weird in English because it means something entirely different in English. But it was either second or third or both. I can't quite remember. I took history anyway, as a extra class in my either second or third or both year of gymnasium school, which is after 9th grade you have 3 years that you can do if you want, but most people do them in another part of school, which is not mandatory. That is called gymnasium in Swedish. And I don't know what I would compare that to. But yeah, anyway, I took history and I had a really good history teacher then, but yeah, not really before that. But yeah, I really like history as a subject. Yeah, but art was my favorite. Okay, most hated subject was probably chemistry or physics. Yeah, well, actually, gym class. At least in my again, I had this wonderful, absolutely incredible gym class teacher when I went to those 3 years in gymnasium school. Gymnasiet. He was freaking the best. So I loved gym class then, and I probably would have liked gym class earlier, but I had the shittiest fucking gym class teachers ever in the history of mankind. All of the other years of my childhood, so I really hated gym class, but that was because of the teachers. And also, I've never been a fan of math. I'm quite bright, I get it, but I really had to sorry, I'm swearing a lot this episode. I really had to put hard work into the math, but I did, and I mean, I'm not stupid, I'm quite bright. I always had quite an easy time studying in school. last song I listened to. Spotify, come back. The last song I listened to was a lo-fi hip-hop song called Alive by Uska. I probably said that wrong. Actually, that's a lie because I listened to music in my car after that. What was the last song I listened to? I think it was Queen with Somebody to Love. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was singing along. And if I had a superpower,